Now I'm going to invite Jack Jones to come forward. He is our preacher for the day. And let's welcome him with some applause. Yeah. And Jack will also share a few words of introduction about himself, but I'm sure you've seen his face and heard his music multiple times from up here on the stage. And he and his family have been part of this community for many years. And it is an honor for us to get to hear from him this morning. So I invite you to have a prayerful spirit and an open heart as we receive from Jack.
Thank you. What a beautiful morning already. So, Christina has checked in on me a good number of times this week with all of the right reasons in mind. But what I haven't told her is there's probably two things I'm most nervous about. Number one, I'm not used to holding a mic in my hands while I'm doing this. So if you don't hear me, it's all my fault. It has nothing to do with sound system in the back. Number two is when this went out in the first place, we were asked as summer speakers to keep it at 15 to 20 minutes each sermon. When I've preached in the past, I'm normally about 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll see how this goes this morning. Good luck. I'm Jack. You may have seen me from my time back in the dark corner up there or in that dark corner back there. Typically, I'm hiding somewhere around, but still helping out as much as I can. I like to keep a low profile. In my former life, I was a preacher. So like I said, I would go like 45 minutes to an hour. But I'm excited to share about where the Spirit may be leading us. Good morning, Lisa. I'm so happy to see you this morning. So there's going to be some of that going on too. Anyway, what I am excited about is to share one of my favorite passages because apparently I misread an early email and thought we were supposed to be talking about where the Spirit, how we can follow the Spirit. So that was my starting point. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 19. What we're going to do is we're going to read this passage and then we're going to kind of walk it together, and maybe I'll share something from up here that I'm not supposed to share. We'll see how it goes. So before we get too far into this, if you don't know me, people in the past have described me personally as being happy or upbeat. My own children have called me relentlessly optimistic. And other people have said that I am a pretty chill guy. Even in the last couple of months, somebody called me Zen. I'm still not quite sure how to feel about that one. But I'm trying to embrace it as much as I can. So my question is, for the rest of you, how do you find that chill space? How do you find that quiet space? Because there's a lot going on in the world around us that can harsh that vibe pretty easily. There's a lot of things going on that are unrestful things. So before I share mine, why don't you share yours? And this is an interactive thing. I don't see Dan in the audience. I really expected him to be here and to be the first one to say anything. So that doesn't help. So what do you do? What do you do to find your quiet space or your peace or your calm in the world? Just shout it out. Walk in the woods? Was that another walk over here somewhere? Yep, absolutely. Water? Go to the water. Absolutely. That's a good one. I like that. Anybody? Listen to music. Okay. Paint? Excellent. I do love seeing your reels online when you share your watercolors. Anybody else? Red River Gorge. Just the whole thing. Go and consume. If you're not quite up for Red River Gorge, I would also offer Raven Run is a nice, easy access kind of place. Anybody else? Does that kind of cover the bases? Garden? See, that would be more stressful for me, but I do know people that garden and that's a peaceful place. So that kind of hits a lot of the things that were on my list, except none of those are the ways that I find my peace. I do find my peace by going into nature. But typically the way that I get into nature is on my bike or by hiking in a more strenuous way with runs or whatever. Not quite to the level that Dustin takes it sometimes. He likes to do trail running, and that's just insane. But I do like to get out into nature, and I do like to push myself to the limits to get there. I also like to listen to music, but it's not the kind of music that you would expect. If you see me walking my dogs and I've got a silly little grin on my face, I'm probably listening to Green Day or Rage Against the Machine or some kind of, see, we got a thumbs up. I thrive on chaos. I find my peace in the midst of the noise and the commotion and the crazy things that are going on in the world around us. And that's what leads us to 1 Kings chapter 19 this morning. So it should be on the screen, or soon enough will be. But I'm going to go ahead and read, and we'll pause at one point, and then we'll finish the whole thing. So 1 Kings 19, starting at verse 5, this is talking about Elijah. Then he lay down under the broom tree and fell asleep. Suddenly an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked, and there at his head was a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. He ate and drank and lay again. The angel of the Lord came a second time and touched him. "Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you." He got up and ate and drank. Then he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. At that place he came to a cave and spent the night there. The word of the Lord came to him, saying, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" He answered, "I have been very zealous for the Lord, the God of the hosts. For the Israelites have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. I alone am left, and they are seeking my life to take it away." So we're going to pause there really quick, because that's a good background on where he's coming from. Elijah just finished some pretty powerful things. He just finished a showdown with all of the prophets of Baal to prove that God is this great, big, powerful, glorious God, and to prove all of that. And he just had all of these amazing, huge, profound moments. And suddenly one person threatens him, and by fear, he is driven out into the wilderness. One person spooks him, and he just runs off. I don't know about you, but I've felt that at times in my life, and I can totally identify. It doesn't take much to throw us off of our groove, off of our game, off of whatever it may be, to throw that calm into unrest. So this is what we're doing. This is what brought us to this point. Picking up again at verse 11. He has gone to this cave and he spent the night. God said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Now there was a great wind, so strong that it was splitting the mountains and breaking rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a sound of sheer silence. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. There came a voice to him that said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" He answered, "I have been very zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the Israelites have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. I alone am left, and they are seeking to take my life, to take it away." The Lord said to him, "Go, return on your way to the wilderness." So with that background in mind, and with all the kids in place, and with all the wondering that we've already done, I want to approach this in a slightly different way. There's something called Ignatian contemplation that's actually really familiar to anybody that's done the Wonder Room. So Wonder Room, we've done I Wonder What, and we explore the passage. This time we're going to walk through it a little bit. So I would invite you into this space. I would invite you to walk with me, with Elijah, into that cave and to kind of explore it a little bit. If you need to close your eyes, that's fine. If you need to not close your eyes so that I don't put you to sleep, I would appreciate that. But we're going to start in this cave with Elijah. So find that space. Now imagine yourself in the place of Elijah. Tired from a long journey, you've been traveling 40 days and 40 nights. You've spent the last night in a cave partway up a mountain. What does it feel like in the cave? Is it wet? Is it musty? What do you hear? What do you smell? Explore that a little bit. Now a voice is asking you, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What brought you to this space at this time? What are you carrying with you this morning? Are there areas of your life where you're feeling tired, despondent, threatened, disillusioned, fearful? Maybe you feel like Elijah, that you've been trying to serve God, but you feel abandoned or alone. Whatever your emotions, express them to God. Something begins to happen now. A gentle breeze turns gradually into a fierce and stormy wind. Dark clouds gather and swirl around the mountain. There's a terrible noise. The trees are bending and breaking. You try to see, but debris is blowing hard in your face. Yet God is not in the wind. Just as the wind slowly dies down, the ground beneath you starts to shake. You feel unstable. Around you, rocks and boulders are shifting. Some tumble down the mountain. You feel like the whole world is going to collapse and fall apart. Yet God is not in the earthquake. The earthquake subsides and once again all goes quiet. But now you hear a rumble and a crackling as fire sweeps through the undergrowth outside the cave. You hear it roaring and you feel it hot on your face. The sky around you turns orange. You retreat deeper into the cave for shelter while the fire sweeps by outside. Yet God is not in the fire. While all of this is passing, you are still seeking God in the chaos. And then you hear it. This thin, small voice of God speaking to you in a gentle whisper, calling to you by name, asking you, "My child, what are you doing here?" Take this moment and tell him. Whatever it is that's brought you to this moment, that's brought you to this cave, that's brought you seeking God in the midst of the chaos. The point is that God is right there with you. That while we like to talk about God being so big and so huge and being in control of so many things in the universe, he is a mighty rushing wind. He is more powerful than the mountains. He is the great fire that burns. He's also a still, small whisper. He's not always and only ever in those biggest things in our lives. He's right there along the way with us every step of that way. For me, what's brought me to this moment is hopelessness. Over the last decade, I've lost a lot of hope, partly in humanity, partly in political temperature of our nation, partly in the culture that I find myself in. I find myself being caught up in an amount of cruelty, or racism. There's an us versus them that's easy to get caught up in and to kind of dig down into my us versus your them. And I start to lose hope. And that's what drove me into the wilderness. That's what drove me out and made me fearful and made me wonder about what's going on. But what's amazing is that God has been there with us every step of that way. Whatever it is that drove you out into that wilderness, maybe it was just pure fear, maybe it was anger, maybe you're with me and you've lost a whole lot of hope over the past decade especially. Know that, like we talked about at the beginning, it was angels that ministered to Elijah all the way there. Elijah was never on his own throughout the whole process. And when he got to that cave and it was dirty and dark and wet and gross, when there was fierce wind all around him and earthquakes and fires happening, God was right there with him the entire time. What drove me into that cave was hopelessness. What got me back away from that cave was love. And love was with us every step of that way. It was love that got food for Elijah, love that gave him the chance to come to that space that he was in, love that spoke to him in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the storms. And love is what's going to carry us on. 1 Corinthians 13 is a great place to go to understand all about love. It's a great treatise of love. But what it finishes with is that there are three things that are left: faith, hope, and love. I have all the faith in the world that God will carry us on. I'm regaining some of my hope. I hope. But love is what drives me forward. And love is what's going to keep us going and what's going to break down those walls. Know that love paved the way and made the path. No matter how many times you find yourself coming back to that cave and going through those storms, because we will be back. It will happen all around us on a daily basis sometimes. No matter what it is, love will carry us this far, and love will continue to carry us on. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.